Welcome back to the Golf Ireland pod. I'm delighted to be your host, Stephen Murphy, and thank you for joining us here again. We have a great show lined up for you. We'll be recapping all the action from the last week in Irish amateur golf. We also have a guest this week. I'll be delighted to be chatting to Caolan Rafferty, which will be coming up now in a few minutes. And we will be looking ahead to this week's upcoming East of Ireland Championship. I'll be speaking to Caolan about that too, which will be fantastic. I hope you're all well listening to this. I hope you're out enjoying the sunshine and fantastic weather we're experiencing in Ireland, which is a rarity. I hope you all got out golfing at the weekend. I hope you all played brilliantly. Birdies galore, I hope. But if not, don't worry, keep at it and we'll get there eventually. But yeah, let's look back to this Irish Senior Men's Amateur Open Championship. We have a winner. English golfer Tom Ettridge claimed a thrilling playoff victory over Joe Lyons from Galway to win. The two, both Tom and Joe, separated themselves from the field, finishing on even par with fantastic rounds throughout the week. Tom had a round one score of 74 and fought back valiantly with a 69 and a 70 to finish on even par. Joe was a bit more steady with rounds of 71, 74 and a fantastic 68 to finish. An absolutely brilliant last round from Joe. In third place we had Eddie McCormick, who finished on 4 over par, and then we had 5 golfers all tied on 5 over par, which included defending champion Jody Flanagan. So congratulations to him for a fantastic defence of his title, and it just kind of shows you how good both Tom and Joe played to separate themselves like that from the field. A fantastic win for Tom. By his own account, didn't strike the ball the best, but he had a super hot putter, and he took advantage of that. He holds some crucial putts, especially on 17 and 18, to tie Joe Lyons, who was leading in the clubhouse on level par. Joe Lyons had a fantastic last round, as I said, shot 6 birdies in his round with a birdie on 18 to secure that 68 and the clubhouse lead, only for Tom Ettridge to hold his nerve when the pressure came on. So Joe can feel obviously disappointed, but a fantastic attempt, shooting a 68 on the last round with 6 birdies. That is incredible. He just come up against a very good player with a very, very hot putter, and there's no disgrace in that. And yeah, congrats to everyone at the Hermitage Golf Club. The course looked absolutely fantastic. I know the players were very, very complimentary of it. And it was a fantastic 3 days for everyone involved, and congrats again to Tom Ettridge. He is your Irish Senior Men's Amateur Open Champion for 2023. We also had some more Irish golf, Irish amateurs in action. We had the Barabazin Trophy, which Liam Nolan won, which is absolutely fantastic. Congratulations to him. He finished on a score of 3 under par, and he also won in a playoff against Zach Little, who also finished on 3 under par, one ahead of James Claridge, who's continuing his fantastic season, and also ahead of Jake Plum and Sean Keeling, who rounded out the top 5. Sean Keeling obviously will be disappointed. A fantastic opening round of 65 would just set the pace, and then rounds of 70, 69, and unfortunately a last round of 76 took him out of contention, which he will be disappointed with. But a huge win for Liam Nolan. I know he had struggles last year, a lot of close calls. I know he's spoken that last year at times he didn't think he could get the job done. So a huge win for him. He posted rounds of 72, 70, 67 and 68. Shooting 67 and 68 in rounds 3 and 4 is absolutely fantastic golf, and deserved to win that one. And even on the last hole, he needed to get up and down for birdie and showed some fantastic touch near the green to get that job done. So again, when he needed it most, came up with the goods, and a fantastic win for Irish golf there at the beautiful Sunningdale golf course, obviously, as well, in England. So there was a great quote from Liam Nolan. He said, "Sunningdale is insane. You could spend the day in the car park and have a great day. It's that amazing." So huge advocate there to go over and visit Sunningdale. And also he did mention having the Irish team there. There was a lot of Irish golfers involved. As I said, Sean Keeling, Matthew McLean. We also had Alex Maguire. Hugh Foley was also featuring, and Mark Boucher, to name a few. He said having them there was obviously very relaxing. You could switch off in the evens and have a laugh, which would have been, I'm sure, very helpful. So congratulations to Liam Nolan. He will be looking forward to pushing on now and hopefully finishing off finishing off for when he started the season. Adding a few more wins to his tally which would be very much welcome. Hugh Foley didn't have a great Brabazon Trophy, but he started off the week with a fantastic Faldo Elite Tour win at I'm gonna probably mess this pronunciation up, but Welwyn Garden City. It is the Faldo series, and he shot a 6 under 64 to win that. And would have been looking in probably for a good swing Dale, just didn't really happen. But still a fantastic win. And like I said, all good rounds start with a bogey, and Foley started his round with a bogey, but then just caught fire with birdies 2 on 2, 6, 8 and 9, and then birdies on the back nine at 11, 13 and 17, which was just fantastic win for nice to add that to his already amazing list of victories. So congratulations to Hugh Foley there too. I think that's caught us up on all the action from last week. We will now throw it over to our conversation with Caolan Rafferty. Yes, and I'm delighted to be joined now by Caolan Rafferty. Caolan, thank you very much for joining me. How are you?
Not too bad, Stephen. No problem at all.
Are you enjoying the good weather that we're having?
Yeah, it's great. It's great being outside all day, walking and enjoying it, getting a nice colour, so that's always a help.
I know. I don't know if you're a bit like me. I just go either burnt or white. There's no real in between.
I'm lucky enough I take a little bit of a colour, but there'll be plenty of burnt bits as well.
Yeah. Did you have a good weekend? Were you just flat out working? Did you get to do anything fun?
Yeah, no, it was busy. I was working all weekend, and then we had Senior Cup, so I had matches the weekend, and lucky enough we got through that round. So.
Very good. Congratulations. And are you a fan of other sports? Would you watch other sports? Obviously, the rugby's on the weekend. Formula One, is it any of that, or are you just pure golf crazed?
No, I'd be into the rugby, a little bit of football, but didn't see any of it. Obviously, was out playing, so I missed it. But it's nice to see the home team's doing well, especially after Leinster last week.
Absolutely, I know. Leinster fans aren't going to be too happy. No trophies, and Munster win one, so that'll be good for the rivalry. But yeah, look, we'll get stuck into some of the golf action. You had a great showing at the Irish Amateur Open at the Island, Caolan, a 7th place finish. Looking back now, obviously some time's elapsed. How would you summarise that week?
Yeah, look, it was a good week. Not playing a whole pile of golf at the minute, so to kind of even be in contention the first 2 days, I was delighted, obviously. Third day didn't go my way. A few different things with the weather didn't help us either. We struggled to get in, I suppose, the last few holes we played in the dark, but I just struggled a wee bit the last 2 days. Got found out with the lack of golf, and that's the way it goes, I suppose. You just have to accept the good with the bad.
Is that the biggest thing? Like you can still play good in short spurts, but doing it for 4 rounds requires that time to put in.
Yeah, like that's kind of the first tournament I played 4 rounds again since last year. We had a charity day that I done 4 rounds in the one day, and that was a lot easier than a round each day. But it's just that competitive edge. You start hitting the odd stray shot and short siding yourself and stuff, which you can't do around the island. So as I say, I got caught out a wee bit there. But no, look, I say someone said to me 7th place at the start of the week, I would have kind of laughed and said, "Oh, a top 20 will do me." So I was happy enough at the end of it, even though a few of the lads see me midway through and wouldn't have said the same.
Yeah. As you're leading after round 2, what's the mindset like at that time? Is that a comfortable space to be leading after round 2, knowing there's still 2 more rounds to go?
Yeah, like I've been in this situation before, so it's kind of, you still just have to play each round as it comes. You kind of forget about the 2 previous rounds and try and just kick on as if it's a start of a new tournament. That's the way I deal with it. And I got off to a good start the 3rd round as well, but unfortunately just the back 9, as I say, I finished quite poorly. I was 4 over the last 7 to shoot 4 over that day, and everyone else around me was going the opposite way, shooting 10 unders and mad stuff. But no, look, it was just one of them days, and Sunday was a bit of a struggle. Putts didn't drop, and again, short-sided myself a few times. So.
Yeah, I think there was 4 or 5 course records, I think, gone in the 1 week.
It was just constant. It was like someone's going to do it, and then the next one is going to beat him again. So it was good and bad for a few fellas. But it was great to see the scoring that low, because we don't get to see that enough in Ireland. Like, it just shows you the standard of the amateur level now. It's so high. And for boys to be producing them scores, it was unbelievable around the island, because it doesn't give them scores up often.
No, it looks like a very, very difficult course. I'd love to play it and also be petrified at the same time, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
watching it. Let's look back to last year. You finished in a tie for second at the East of Ireland Championship, which is obviously this week at County Loud Golf Club. Does it feel like a year has passed, or does it feel longer?
No, it's quick. Everything's flying in. Just couldn't believe how far we're on to this year already. That it's back around. But yeah, no, like Baltray is somewhere I enjoy. I love. It's 20 minutes from the house, so I played it regular as a young fella as well. And I had a couple of good showings. First ever when I was in the lead after round one, I think, or close to the lead after round one, and obviously fell away after that because I didn't know what to do. I was a young fella then, but I was a bit of a head on my shoulders now that I know what I'm at. But no, look, as I say, I like the East. I enjoy the course. It kind of suits me eye a wee bit, and generally we get decent weather for it too, which helps.
Yeah, what does the tournament mean to you personally? Obviously, it's only 20 minutes down the road. What does it must have a special place in your heart a little bit.
Yeah, like to win it'd be one of the nicest ones, and I'd probably the one I would aim for each year nearly to try and win. It's only 20 minutes back down the road to all the lads for a few pints to celebrate, not like the other two I had where it was the next day or the next week I had to do it because it was too long of a journey home. But no, it'd be great, as I say, because it's close by and I'd have a lot of support, even from clubs around that people will travel up to see me if I was going well. So
you often hear professionals speak as well sometimes when they get to sleep in their own bed that it's such a huge advantage. Do you find that, as you said, like going home every night compared to staying in digs or staying with someone else?
yeah, but that's it too. Like you can still live your own day-to-day life, and it's just golf at the end of it then as well, which to me is a big thing because I just enjoy my own space and do my own thing. And like I went to work on the second day of the amateur just that morning because I wasn't out till 3 o'clock, so I was like I have to kill the morning some way. So little things like that there are a big benefit when you play the tournament, all right.
Looking back, obviously finishing second, do you look back as a disappointment? Do you look back as a great week? How do you summarise that?
At the time, it was a massive disappointment because I was going well, and from what I remember, I think the last 7 holes I had 4 lip outs and harsh lip outs, so kind of this stung, and then I drove it in the fairway bunker in 16 and made bogey. So little things kind of just at the end left a bit of a sour taste in my mouth. But at the same time, then when you look back and you see your second, you still have to take the positives out of it too.
How long does it take? Is it kind of get the frustrations out within the day and then move on? Is it still lingering a week after? I know some lads like to write stuff down in journals. Do you just try and get back on the course as soon as possible? How do you deal with it?
Oh, it's that evening is about the height of it for me. The next day is just back to work or back to do whatever I was doing, and away we go. It's a tournament, it's over and done, but you can't do anything about it. But yeah, definitely that evening it'll always sting a wee bit. Knowing that you had the chance, because it's not easy winning these events. So to get the chance, you like to just grab it with both hands if you can. So it does sting a wee bit afterwards, but the next day we're fine.
That's a good attitude to have. Does it help also when someone like Alex Maguire shoots 65, 68 in the weekend, like really goes out and, almost takes it from you and wins it from you with some fantastic golf?
Yeah, well, that's the scores he shot that day were unbelievable, and his finish, I'm fairly sure he eagled the 18th, if not 2 rounds. He definitely eagled it in the first round, which gave him the momentum to keep it going, because it's hard to keep that going for when it's 36 in the one day. But no, his golf was great that day, because it wasn't just that easy. It definitely wasn't shooting them scores easy. So no, hats off to him last year. All right,
fantastic. Your last year was pretty consistent, Caolan. Looking back at all your results, when you play, you tended to finish a lot of top tens. I think a lot of the amateurs listening at home, and myself included, is how the hell are you so goddamn consistent when you play golf?
It's just something that I've fallen back into, doing what I'm comfortable doing and just playing my own game. Sometimes it mightn't be overly pretty, but I know how to get it into the hole in the few strokes as I can. But no, it's just I got a wee bit tied up for a while trying different things, and I just resorted back to what I know I'm comfortable doing, and it just seems to hold out for me at the minute. A lot of trust in what I do, so that helps.
Yeah, that's actually a good point you bring up. Is it very easy to get caught up in seeing another player who maybe is having a great day and you're trying almost to keep pace with him, and you end up then making more mistakes as a result of that. Is that something that happens on tournaments like that?
A little bit, a little bit. People will like you'll nearly get into a match play moment with the boys that's in your group, and when they're making birdies, sometimes it helps. It spurs you on to make a few, but if you're making a bogey where they're making the birdie, you start pushing it a wee bit more, and you go at flags you probably wouldn't have went for if you were still tied for the lead or whatever way you were going, or if you were just playing your own game, you wouldn't maybe go for it. But it does sort of leak in a wee bit. You try different things, but the last while I've tried to stop doing that, and as I say, just do my own thing, and hopefully it works out.
Stick to your own game plan. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So let's look ahead to this week. How have you been prepping? How's the game feeling?
Yeah, no, I've seen a cup the weekend. Just played the Sunday competition after it. I don't really do a whole pile of practice and stuff. I tee it up and hope for the best sometimes. But I'll just keep doing the same. I'll work all week, head up Saturday morning and tee it up and give it a spin.
That's great. I love to hear that. And my next question is, having come so close last year, is expectations high? But I don't get the sense that your expectations are too high or too stressful, which is great.
Yeah, no, look, as I say, I'm trying to enjoy the golf again. A lot of years there where it was a busy schedule and all it was tournament after tournament. And I was talking to a few of the lads and listening to the schedule saying, geez, I don't miss that in one sense because it's so hectic that you get caught up in it. Whereas now I'm off work for a few days playing a golf tournament, and I'm going to enjoy the few days away from cutting greens and actually playing on them.
Yeah, that's actually another good point. Is it when you're in the middle of a run of a couple of weeks in a row, is it tough to kind of remind yourself, I'm doing this because I enjoy it?
Big time, because you start questioning the bad holes you played in the previous events or the bad rounds you had, and you kind of go searching a little bit, I found, when I was doing it week in, week out. And sometimes it can be harder to get over the bad days because you have no time to get ready for the next event. You just have to try and bury it to one side, which is, as I say, sometimes hard knowing it's another big tournament after each other. So definitely I found that, like, the islands a couple of weeks ago now, and in one sense I forget a lot of it. I remember the good stuff, which I'm learning from a couple of lads back in the club that don't remember a bad shot.
Yeah, I know you hear all the time. Maybe after a round, we're more likely to remember the bad shots than the good shots. So that seems to be a fantastic way of looking at it too. You're obviously familiar with the course. Can you describe the course to someone like myself or someone listening who wouldn't be overly familiar with it?
Yeah, to me, it's probably one of the most underrated links that we have in Ireland. It's a great challenge, but then at the same time, it opens us the opportunity to go low. There's plenty of chances on it if you hit fairways. That's the big thing. Like most links courses, I suppose, it's very hard to play from the rough. But I always find Baltray does yield a lot of birdies to the players, and you can get aggressive at times, which is nice. And as I say, we normally get good weather for it, so the course is always in perfect condition. Like greens are always fantastic, fairways are always good, and then it's just down to the player to do the job.
Obviously, some courses lend themselves more to driving accuracy. Some is more about finding the right parts of the greens. Obviously, all of your areas of your game has to be on form to do well. But is there anything that sticks out to you that, like, do you have to be super accurate off the tee? Do you have to find the right areas from your approach shots?
Yeah, like I know years gone by, the rough has been quite generous in Baltray because they go through sort of spells of cutting it back, and it never gets up overly thick or heavy. So you can get away with maybe not being as accurate off the tee to an extent. Again, if you're 15 yards off the fairway, it gets a little bit touch and go. But I believe this year, from talking to a few of the members up there, that the rough is quite challenging. So that means it's going to put a lot on your driving this week. But I always found around Baltray it was down to putting. Greens are never really big sloping greens. They're always subtle breaks and quite fast, so you have to really be dialed in the greens, I always found.
It's obviously given fantastic weather for the weekend. It's going to be hot and warm. Are those conditions that you like to play in? Is it tougher to prep for a round with those conditions rather than maybe just a normal day or even a colder day?
Yeah, no, well, weather never really. If it's raining, it's raining. You just have to deal with it. But generally, warmer conditions I tend to like. A lot of my best finishes when I was down in South Africa with the GOI at the time, now Golf Ireland, at all the events down there. So I had a lot of good finishes down there. I enjoyed the heat where you can not have to worry about when's the umbrella going to go up and when are we going to get the wet jacket on and off. So it eases the mind a wee bit, but I wouldn't. Obviously, I'd rather play in the sun and no wind, but we don't get that all the time.
Yeah, I was watching some of the LPGA match play, and they were using umbrellas for shade, which is a nice change compared to here. So maybe you can get the umbrella out for some shade, Caolan.
Yeah, I think I seen it last year happen at the East, so might see it again this year.
Maybe, yeah, maybe. That's brilliant. Let's chat mentality because it's a subject that I'm fascinated with when it comes to elite golfers, and yours is your mentality obviously is just fantastic because it's very, very laid back, which can be very different to some of the other golfers that we've been speaking to, which is brilliant. But mentality is where a lot of you guys separate yourselves from the decent amateurs and even the good scratch players. And I was golfing myself last Friday, and I was golfing with three young lads, and they were, I'd say they were all mid to high handicappers, but their mentality was, well, it was hilarious to watch or listen to in hindsight, but they were standing over tee shots and saying out loud, like, this one's going to go way left or this one's going to go way right. And of course, that's exactly where the ball goes. How much time do you put into your mentality? Is this just your natural personality to be laid back? Do you put effort into this, or is it just how you are?
This is just me. I would always have been, if anything, too laid back. I know mum and dad and my fiance Haley would always give out to me for being too laid back with a lot of deadlines. I actually think I've missed one. You just reminded me of one or two there that I forgot about. So must get the license sorted, driving license sorted soon. But no, that genuinely would be the way it is. I tend to switch off so much that I'm in trouble for it sometimes. But no, it's just I've been brought up that way all my life. I was kind of brought up with my nan and granda, so they were very easygoing and kind of let you away with a lot of things and learned a lot off them. So yeah, no, it's just day to day. I don't take life too serious. I just enjoy it.
Absolutely, it's brilliant. It's refreshing to see that. One thing though that seems pretty consistent with the elite pros and the elite amateurs like yourselves is the importance of a pre-shot routine. Do you have one that you're committed to every time? Is that a way when you are maybe a bit nervous that sticking to that pre-shot routine seems to help lads kind of stick to that muscle memory and just let it happen?
Yeah. Again, I have one that I never knew I had. It was only my father pointed it out one day. He was like, "Oh, I always know when you're ready to hit it." And I was like, "Hey, I don't even know sometimes when I'm going to hit it." And he says, "No, you always have. It's in two looks, and on the third look, as soon as my head comes back, I generally pull the trigger." But again, never something that I was aware until he told me. But when he said it, then obviously you're standing over the ball, going, "Oh, I'm going to hit it now." After I look at this the third time, so yeah, I have a routine without actually practicing it or noticing that I had it. And it's been there for as long as I remember playing golf, I think.
Yeah, it seems to be. Yeah, everyone has that trigger move. Maybe that that third look is your trigger move, and then you're gone.
Yeah.
But every it is important to people listening at home. Develop one, stick to it, and then when times are when it is a bit nervous, that's what'll get you through. You're teeing off on Saturday at 8:14 a.m. Caolan alongside Sam Murphy and Kane Morgan, I believe it's pronounced. Are you familiar with the two lads you're playing with? Have you played with them before?
I know of the two lads. I don't know them very well or that. I know Sam's in America, yeah, college and stuff. So I would know them just to say hello to and stuff like that there. So I look forward to meeting the lads and having a bit of crack, hopefully, come Saturday.
And you're teeing off early. Is that something you prefer? By the sounds of it, you'd rather tee off early and get it done?
Yeah, well, 8 o'clock's going to be a lie-in for me. Normally the alarm be going off at 5 o'clock, so that alarm going off at 6:30, 7:15 to be lovely. Come Saturday, I'll enjoy the sleep on Friday night.
Yeah, yeah. So if anyone isn't familiar, you work as a greenkeeper. That's your full-time job. So yeah, definitely a lot of early mornings for you. How long have you been doing that? Is that something you've been doing basically since you've been working?
It's something I fell into over COVID. When we couldn't play golf, and I'd be very friendly with the head greenkeeper in Dundalk, and at the time there was a fella out injured, so they were a wee bit short staffed because obviously the golf course still had to be maintained even though there was no golf. And he said, "Do you mind coming over and just giving us a hand?" So I kind of, yeah, sure. I'm sitting at home playing the PlayStation every day because I can't do it now, so I might as well go and earn a few pounds. And have to say I love it. Fell into it. You're out in this. Well, you're out in all the weather, but generally you're out in decent enough weather. Fresh air all day, and you come home and all you want to do is go to sleep. So it's great. It knocks you out that way.
Yeah, well, that's it. Can you? Us normal golfers who play golf regularly, we probably don't know half the work that goes into maintaining a golf course. Is it much more complex than us normal people would assume?
Like I got my eyes open big time when I started it. I was thinking the same, just sure, all to do is cut grass and put a fancy stripe in it and different things, but the amount of work on a day is just mental. Like we be in there now, we're 6 to 3, that's our hours, and you wouldn't have a minute. It's just all non-stop getting stuff ready. Simple things like even just setting the course up on a daily basis is a big enough job because you're trying to maintain areas constantly that you're not putting tee boxes in divot patches and whatnot. So there's so much goes into it that I just couldn't believe. As I say, a lot more respect for the course staff at every golf club now. And yeah, definitely got my eyes open.
I was going to say probably much more, as you say, appreciation now when you go to different golf courses, especially when they're in immaculate condition. Like a lot of the courses you'd be playing, that's fantastic. Is there also Is there any also a side of silent judgment when a course isn't up to scratch? You might I could do a better job here.
There's always that aspect of anyone in their job. They'll always critique something else. But no, I still don't know enough to be judging anyone's golf course. I'm still learning a lot of it, but definitely you take away all the nice fancy finishes that courses have, and definitely Baltray put a few of them in the last number of years that I remember last year I've been blown away by. So I'm looking forward to getting up again this year to see what new bits and pieces they've done. And again, you try and take it back and you be bending the head greenkeepers here, try this maybe next week, try that there, it looks well. So he's fed up me coming back with ideas at this stage, I'd say.
Absolutely. Well, that's fantastic. Well, Caolan, thank you for joining me to chat. Best of luck this weekend. We'll be keeping an eye out for you. No one so far who's guested now. We're still only on episode 3 or 4. I think it is 4, possibly. No one's gone on to win after featuring on the podcast. So you could be the first. You could break that. So hopefully you will.
Hopefully so. That'll be a nice way to do it. All right.
That will, absolutely. Well, best of luck. Thanks for joining us, and we'll catch you soon.
Thanks for having me, Stephen. Thank you.
Thanks again to Caolan Rafferty for joining me there. Fantastic chat with Caolan. I think we can all agree an amazing attitude on his golf and I'd say on life in general. Wishing him the best of luck this weekend. So let's look ahead to this weekend. It's a bank holiday weekend. The weather's given fantastic. And we have an amazing golf tournament on. The East of Ireland Men's Amateur Open Championship is taking place on Saturday, June the 3rd, all the way through to the Monday, June 5th, over the bank holiday weekend. And yeah, it's happening at County Louth Golf Club, which is a links course beautifully located in the village of Baltray in County Louth, just 4 miles outside the town of Drogheda. And as Caolan was saying, an underrated links course in the country. Beautiful setting, and will be, as I said, giving fantastic weather. So if you can, get down there, support the golfers, and spend some time at a beautiful golf course in some beautiful weather, and make sure to bring the sun cream. Get down and see, as I said, some elite golfers in action. Let's look at just a couple of tee times. Obviously, Caolan, as a guest, he's teeing off at 8:25 a.m. Alex Maguire, the former champion, looking back to last year, won this competition, clear of 2 shots by tied second of Jack McDonald and Caolan Rafferty. Alex Maguire from Laytown and Bettystown, as I mentioned, with Caolan shot 65 and 68 in round 3 and 4, which is just incredible stuff, and deserved winner there. And yeah, as I said, 2 ahead of Jack and Caolan. Darcy Hogg, Alan Hill, Robert Brazil, Luke O'Neill and Richard Knightley all were sitting in a tied for 4th place on 284 strokes, so 4 back of Alex. So yeah, it's 36 holes on the Monday as well, so plenty of golf on show. As I mentioned, Alex is teeing off at 7:41 a.m. alongside Matthew McLean, so that's a good group to follow. Jack McDonald, who I mentioned, was tied second alongside Caolan. He tees off at 2:09 p.m, looking to go that one step better alongside Caolan. And Robert Brazil, who finished tied fourth last year, he's teeing off at 8:03. But there'll be plenty of big names. The first group of the day on Saturday includes Peter O'Keefe, Joshua Hill, and David Foy. And big names throughout the whole tee sheet, which is available on Golf Ireland if you wish to go and find a golf group that you want to follow. But yeah, get down there. As I said, a beautiful golf course, beautiful part of the country, and some beautiful weather. What more do you need? And some, to enjoy some great golf. So we'll be back next week as always to recap the action from the east of Ireland. We will have another guest for you and look ahead to the upcoming tournaments. So as always, thank you for listening. We appreciate it, and we will see you next week.